Hello and welcome to this week's Zcast with me, Dantos4, and Claude Rebel. Hello and welcome to this week's Zcast with me, Dantos4, and Claude Rebel.
Hey,
Say hello, Rebel.
Hey.
There we go. So, last week on Friday with the stream, we were just watching the recent playoffs. And the result of the playoffs were that Team Cold beat the Earth Defenders 2-1, which was in fact the only match that went to 3 games. Super Saiyans beat the Valkyries. Team Derp beat the Ginyus. I might have to say about that later. Margins beat the Rugrats. All of these were 2-0 victories, although they weren't always complete trouncings, but
not completely, but they were mildly entertaining, most of them.
Yeah. Definitely, I would say Team Cold has got the pick there for me, and I'm not biased at all.
Yeah, no, I am biased. I still think Cold had the pick there. I think what I think was entertaining about that game actually was the fact that the first 2 games were really quite the first 2 games were really quite close. And then you get into the 3rd game and it's like Cold just went, you know what, fuck you. And just, Mecha Frieza didn't even have to come out onto the field, and Cold was just like, you know what, this is why we're the best team.
Yeah.
You don't stand a chance.
We might as well just go straight into the analysis anyway.
Might as well, yeah.
But, it was really interesting, but I personally put it down to Goku was performing in the first 2 matches amazingly well, compared to what he usually...
No, he was. The benefit of... And as Team Cold, we have proved this for the whole season. The benefit of ultimates is massive, even if it's just the one ultimate and a bunch of special moves and a bunch of B2s. Sorry, the benefit of having someone who will throw those out constantly is enormous. It's really, really valuable to a team, and yeah, the AI usage is difficult to get right, and sometimes it doesn't work, but for Goku on those 2 matches, it was really, really effective.
Yeah, I mean, well, even Squeeze said it I know he said it on the stream. I'm not sure it was recorded on the actual show, but I know he did say he specifically watched something like 2 hours of our matches.
I think it was 8, actually.
Was it 8?
Yeah, and by the way, you're crackling again.
I'm going to crackle a little bit. Yeah, I remember he said something about, I think it was 8, wasn't it? I was thinking that, but I thought, maybe I'm exaggerating the number there.
Instead you're undervaluing him.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You'll be listening to this saying, God damn it was 8! Yeah, I mean, considering he watched that much footage and made so many little tweaks and changes to the team.
Well, in some ways it wasn't little tweaks and changes. Power body was a pretty big one to be thrown out there. And as I think was also mentioned, I think it was during the recording as well as the stream, was very ironic. I certainly approved. Like power body and a single Patara point. Ooh, Piccolo AI. Squee, are you going to recognise the irony when you start recording this?
It was a good match though. I really enjoyed the match.
It was.
It kept me on the edge of my seat anyway. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, after having you told me what the matches was, and thank you for that, because I was sort of going, oh shit. The second match, I was like, really? This is happening? I may be losing 1 million Squee points. Shit. But no, actually knowing what the results were, it was still a really entertaining. It was still a really entertaining match. I enjoyed it. Earth Defenders is far in the lead. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Death Ball.
They really did spam some of the ultimates in that match as well.
We did, and hopefully we can carry it through to the next round of matches. Because who's up next? We've got Cold against Androids. We've got Derp against Boo. We've got Margins against Muscle, and we've got Super Saiyans against Saiyans.
Yeah.
All of which are going to be pretty impressive matches.
Indeed. But again, though, we then have what would be sort of tied for first place, Cold and Android versing each other again.
Yeah, we do. Altair has made me a special bet. Where if I bet, and I have taken it, where if I bet all of my money on a Cold beating the Android, then if Cold wins, then I get an extra million squee points on top of my winnings. So I'll have like 5.5 million squee points.
Wow.
Which, given that I'm already the richest person on the forums in terms of squee points at the minute, is pretty impressive.
You may get quite the lead if we beat them then. Or you could be bankrupt.
Well, yeah, we would have quite the lead. I would have quite the lead if we won. I would also be bankrupt. What I'd have to do then is hope that, in order to get my money back, is hope that Derp actually wins the whole tournament. Which, if Cold go out, that's what I want to happen. Because I want the underdog team of the whole season. You know, the team that really nobody thinks they're going to lose to, even though everybody knows it's going to be possible. But I really would want them to win, and then I get 10 million. I think is it like 1 million squee points or 10 million squee points?
I haven't got a clue. I know it's a very high amount.
Probably 10 million in that case.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But yeah, the Super Saiyans and the Valkyries was the next match, and even though the Valkyries lost, it wasn't a complete stomping. I wouldn't say. They were kind of, in some ways, a little bit unlucky.
I can't. I'm afraid I'm going to have to hold my hands up here. I can't comment on any of the other games because it was on the stream and it hasn't gone up yet. I haven't been able to watch them properly because my internet really is hating me at the minute. I was lucky that Cold and Earth Defenders was the first game, because otherwise I'd have to skip ahead and try finding the rest of it. So I genuinely don't know.
Well, they had quite an interesting matchup. At least at one point in one of the fights, Vegeta was absolutely dominating Aurelie, which was kind of strange because, as far as I was concerned, Aurelie is one of the the best hand-to-hand in the whole.
She is. The thing with Aurelie is she relies almost entirely on momentum, if you can call it that. She is a powerhouse when she gets going. But if you throw a beam into her face, or even if you just punch her out of a combo, which I don't actually think is possible, because isn't she unstunnable? I think she's unstunnable. But if you chuck a beam into her face or somehow slow her down, there's like using one of the stun B1s or something along those lines, she starts being, as any other character is in those circumstances, just as vulnerable.
Yeah.
So if you can actually slow her down, if you can actually stop her from gaining that momentum, then she isn't, as like I said, as with any other player, she's not a threat. However, actually stopping, because she's really hard to stun, stopping her gaining that momentum is really, really difficult. And it's something the Valkyries have relied on quite a lot since they got Aurelie, to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose that's predominantly down to your AI setting, isn't it? And even then, it's kind of luck, really.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, it's probably mostly luck. Her supers aren't in any way too awful. There's some pretty impressively damaging things there, and they're not all that bad. But yeah, keeping someone locked down is certainly a matter for an AI, and it obviously depends on your strengths and what you want that player to be using, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's just as easy to lock someone down with rush blasts, or even rush hand-to-hand combos, as it is with throwing beams into their face every 5 seconds. It has the same effect of damaging the person and stopping them from reacting. So, but yeah, the Valkyries have not relied on Aurelie this season, because their dominating victories haven't always been with Aurelie leading. But there's always been that element of, if Aurelie's still alive, they're still they still
There's
have
still
a
a
chance.
good chance, yeah.
You know, Cold, 2 players left. You know, Valkyries, Aurelie left.
Yeah.
You know, Squeeze going, you know what, I think the Valkyries are probably... Oh, maybe not. So, you know, there's always that element, whereas if say, the Valkyries had maybe Videl still around and kicking, and, you know, your opponent had sort of 2 slightly damaged players, you'd be looking at thinking, well, if she performs well, she could do it, but I don't think so. We'd have to be lucky. Whereas if Aurelie goes out there, you sort of expect her to come out and dominate. And it's slightly disappointing, I suppose, when she doesn't. It's a bit like Mecha Freezer, watching him come out and then not using ultimate. It's like, oh no, please don't do that.
Well, I had a similar, I guess I don't even know what you'd call it, but a similar thought and a worry when when Cole were playing Earth Defenders, because obviously, you know, I was supporting them, and in the oh no, and in the second match, we were kind of dominating really near the end, and there was TN left, and I think there was we had one player with full health and one with half or something like that.
Metacooler and
Mecha Freezing may have been, or might have been cooler, but yeah. Anyway,
cooler,
we were doing quite well, and you know, I was saying, okay, look, just kill TN, kill TN because he's painful. And someone in the chat said, why are you worrying? You've got 2 players left. I've got 1. I said, look, watch season 1 and go and see what TN did in that one match where he spammed the hell out of his ultimate and just. It's the fact that it can be used like multiple times within the same ultimate.
Yeah,
makes it incredibly powerful.
It's a really, really scary ultimate to be up against. Fortunately, I was killing myself laughing, as I'm sure everybody non-Earth Defenders was, when he just used it once. It was really fun.
But you have to think though that if he'd have used that, you know, maybe 2-3 times in terms of within the one ultimate, that would have been game over.
The result of those games could have been very, very different had TN actually worked properly.
Yeah.
And I think Squee, watching that and commentating on that, realised that at the time, and that obviously added to his despair at being annihilated. made our victory all the sweeter though.
Yeah, of course.
Because we're not competitive at all.
No, we don't gloat. We don't.
No, of course
not. Cole beat the Defenders, Super Saiyans and Valks. I guess we've covered that, really.
Pretty much. As much as I'm capable of, anyway.
Yeah, there's not much more to say about that match, actually.
No.
No?
Apart from stuff that we sort of discussed with Snowy before, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true. And then the next one was Dip beating Ginyu.
Anything that was unexpected, it was that one.
Last week when we spoke, we said, well, they may have a chance, you know, if they pull some mega, you know, supreme
Kai domination. Yeah.
And they said, but realistically, it's going to be Ginyu. Yeah, we were wrong.
Well, sort of, we were right, because from what I understand and from what I heard, Supreme Kai did pretty well.
Yeah.
So, while we were wrong about the end result, we were right in that, you know, Supreme Kai, Magic, Derp being actually pretty good. We were sort of right. I've got to keep some honour here. Come on.
They kind of have that element to them, don't they? Like
they are a very unpredictable team.
When you take Hercule at face value, you think, oh my god, he's such a terrible character. But in that unblockable present bomb, if you could somehow get him to spam that, they would be pretty much. He could probably take every single character on and not have anyone else come off the field.
Aren't both of Hercule's moves? All of Hercule's moves rushes, because the present bomb he has to get close to them to hit. Mm-hmm. Although it is unblockable, so whether... No, it would still be a rush though, wouldn't it? You know, dynamic mess 'em up punch and then Mr. Boo arrives. They're all rush moves.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's definitely not a bad character in terms of his supers, and his ability to charge that quickly is genuinely scary.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
If we could get that on Mecha Freezer, we would be unstoppable.
Yeah,
or cooler, actually. Let's put it on
They
cool.
do have that huge amount of unpredictability to them.
They do.
That is the scary thing. You just have to wonder now whether they can carry that through to the next round and the next round, and you know, if they can actually keep performing at that level. Which I might have to keep my words. I may have to keep my words, but I don't think they'll do it. But
I would have to agree with you and say I don't think they'll do it. However, as we've already said, you can never tell with Derp. They have their moments of being pretty impressive, and they seem to like proving people wrong. Whether they can beat the Boos, I don't know. Since season 1 and into season 2, the Boos, may not be the best customized team. Or the most customized team, shall we say? That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
But they're still lethal. They're still arguably one of the best teams in the league, despite their not stellar or not comparably stellar win-loss record.
Yeah. Well, if I was to give any advice to the Boos, I would say that they should call for a drugs test on Supreme Kai. Because realistically, come on, he's gone from being quite literally derp to just the hero. I mean, the whole team performed well.
I think in terms of my 10 million squee points, we should call the drugs test at the end of the tournament, wait until I've got my money, and then
we'll wait and see if Cole gets beat. And if Cole gets beat, we won't call the drug test.
Yeah, if Cole gets beaten, we won't call the drug test. Wait, what division are they in? They in West division?
Not sure.
Or East?
To be honest.
Probably West. Yeah, I think they're in West Kai division, off the top of my head. But that means we'd be facing them in the final if we did face them. So we call the drug test just before the final. If we get through them, we should be okay.
Okay, and then we also had the margins against the Rugrats. This was
oh, power body.
The whole match, doesn't it? Really,
it does rather. Again, I didn't watch these, so I don't really know. But fucking hell, Sparta, what were you doing? Power body.
It's very interesting.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to this, looking at it, thinking, wait, what? Because if the changes were made pretty late on, and I know the Rugrats were saying that the coach of the Rugrats was saying that he didn't. I think the coach of the Rugrats said anyway that he didn't see the changes until before the matches started. Power body on everybody, and at one point Potara on everybody. It's pretty reminiscent of what Dragon Ball Heroes did with Master Roshi. It's that's my theory, anyways. It's just screw you all. I'm going to see if this works. But no, it's an interesting build, and not as ineffective, actually, as I think a lot of people thought it was going to be. And certainly said, even as the game was going on, that it was, or that it would be. Power Body is really interesting. It gives you the brick wall effect, or a semblance of the brick wall effect, which is obviously very useful for a melee-based character such as Spopovich, but is also useful for a ranged-based character like Deborah. Because if someone is really close to you and is pumping their fists into you and it's not doing anything to you, then rather than being constantly stunned and having to do your best to take the opportunity to do a backflip and throw something into their face, you can either retaliate or just backflip and throw a beam into their face anyway while they're in the middle of a combo. So it's not actually a bad Potara for any kind of character. Squee was saying in the stream, I think, that defense -1 isn't actually that much of a bad thing. What was it, like 5%?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's not a huge amount.
Yeah, so it's not a huge amount of loss, which obviously can be countered by stuff like latent energy if you really think it's important.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, it may have been a bit of a piss take. It may have been him just going, you know what, screw it. We'll see what happens on all of these different characters. But in and of itself, I don't think it was a bad idea. I really don't think it was a bad idea. Regardless of whether there was method behind the madness, I don't think it was.
It did work, didn't it? Really,
it did work, and I honestly don't think it was that bad of an idea.
Maybe
it worked, as we saw, but I don't think it was as insane as people obviously assumed it was.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I first saw it, admittedly, I just thought, oh my god, Sparta's... He's taking something he shouldn't have, and, you know, he's a bit deranged, and he's obviously needs to commit into a mental clinic or something.
But, yeah, we already knew that.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it was...
I do know what you mean. I thought he was going a bit out of his way, especially given the time of the season it was. Well, not even just that. The time of the season. You know, the playoffs. There's an awful lot at stake.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good time to do it, though. You know, if there's ever a time for drastic changes, Squee proved that was a good time for drastic changes.
Yeah.
Let's say that anyway.
Well, it does prove that Sparta's got a lot of balls to try that tactic at least.
No, he does. Yeah, that was. You know, the margins do certainly need an edge. They're a good team, but his options of changing players, it's very limited. You know, I think the only people he can take into his team are the Boos if one of the Boos if the Boos give them up, which I can't really see happening. But
no.
You know, he can only change to them, and his range of characters, getting them to work together. I've been looking at it. If there's one team I would not want to take on, as in, you know, take on as a coaching thing, is probably the margins. You know, I think there are a couple of other teams, but you know, looking at the margins, the potential's there. They have really strong characters, but actually, they have the potential to have really strong characters. But actually getting that out of them,
it's very difficult.
It's very difficult, and he's shown that, you know, with the number of changes he's made and the things he's done. It's really quite difficult for him to actually get out of those players what he needs, and to get out a convincing victory. You know, he's won. They have a decent win-loss record, but actually getting a genuinely great team that is, you know, Android style good I think is pretty difficult for him. So he's got a pretty tough job, and if there's anything that's going to work, he does really need to be audacious, shall we say?
Creative.
yeah, about how he uses his Pataras. It was certainly entertaining, and it paid off for him. So.
Oh, it definitely did, yeah. So. As well, I guess, looking into something else that was mentioned on the stream a little bit, and it's been mentioned in the forums a little bit as well. You know, season rules, and you mentioned it a little bit there, you know, changing up who's in which team, and obviously some teams will obviously have a lot more choice, should we say, in terms of who they can pick. Like Team Cold, we don't really have that much.
We have King Cold.
Yeah.
Which, I was looking at his moveset, and that might not be a bad idea. But that is for that one. That one's certainly for another time. Maybe a viewer question, but let's not go into that one now.
Yeah, like, is there anything else new on the forum? Do we know?
I have absolutely no idea. I just got up. Am I allowed to use that excuse?
I just got up as well, so I haven't got a clue either.
Hey, you were up before me. I was using my phone.
That's true. Oh, there was one thing Squee was saying I think it was on the stream, that he's going to be setting up a sub forum somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Suggestions for
Yes, or someone else is going to do it before him.
Yeah. Not me.
Well, not me either. It's going reasonably well as it is, I'd say, but, if you... Can't remember where this is from, but if you stand still, obviously it's not... there's no progress, there's no change, there's nothing new going into stuff, so... Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good idea. I think it'll certainly be beneficial for stuff and give people the chance to say what they think, provided the ideas are sensible. You never know, someone might come up with a brainwave. Sense my cynicism here. Sorry, I have no faith in people whatsoever.
No, well, even if there is some crazy idea that somehow makes it through, we can always just change back. It's not like...
there's that, and also with them what has power. And then what decides stuff. I think the likelihood of crazy ideas actually getting implemented as a full-time thing is less likely. But we'll see. And I'd be interested to see what people think anyway, because insights, despite my cynicism, insights into what people think and how people feel I find rather entertaining. Well, yeah, despite my cynicism, it's probably because of my cynicism.
That's certainly the way I feel, anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really the only news, isn't it? Yes.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
I'm just having a look, and there's nothing really new.
I'm still staring at the Skype screen. I can't move away from it.
That would be why.
Yeah.
This week's fixtures. We will have Cold and the Androids, as we've mentioned.
Yep.
The rematch, revenge, vengeance, whatever you want to call it.
With any luck, I did quite like Chocolate's post on our forums. And I was quite proud of my response. 6:30 in the morning. That's nice, dear. But bad sense of humour, what can I say?
Yeah, that was a strange post nonetheless. Both of them were actually.
I do strange posts.
And then, so we have the Cold Androids.
Crackling again.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm changing. I don't know.
The pressure of the air around your laptop. I don't know.
I'm not good.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I crackling again?
Yes.
Yes. Hang on then.
No? Technical issues, folks.
No?
Okay, no, you're better now.
Okay, right, I'll just put the laptop down. No. Fuck. Hang on a minute. Okay, am I back? Am I crackling?
Yes.
Is it bad?
It's worse.
Oh, fuck. I'm doing this on my... Hang on.
I'm keeping this in here, okay?
If you want. You're the editor.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement.
Well, that's fine. I'll be the executive producer, and you can be chief editor.
Because we're that organised.
Oh yeah.
Because we so did not just decide last night. Oh shit, we need to do the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, if I stop crackling.
Yes, but I'm sure we can deal with it.
Yeah, if it crackles again, I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
I don't know how to fix it or what causes it, so screw them.
Shitty laptop.
Honestly, wouldn't be surprised.
Incompetent person in charge. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, that's sure. That's when yeah.
Anyway, what did we have?
So,
we had Cold Androids. We had Derp Boo. We had Margin Muscle. We had Super Saiyan Saints. There we go.
Yeah. Super Saiyan. Okay. Let's do the predictions then, I guess.
Oh shit.
Cold and Android.
Well, I have bet absolutely everything. Not because I think we're going to win, but because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I do the betting, and I'm not one to start holding on to my money. But I think that one is genuinely impossible to call.
Yeah, it really is.
People are betting one way or the other. There have been a few people betting for the Androids, and I'm betting everything on Cold. I genuinely think we can win.
Yeah.
But I also think that the Androids are a great team, as we've proved, or as they've proved in the past. They're a very good team. Both teams are incredible. Both teams have slightly different styles of play. Almost androids are almost slightly more balanced, with Cell being very defense tank based player with the transformations that almost always happen, and his damage dealing potential is still pretty good, especially with Drain Life. Then you have Dr. Giro, bit unimpressive, but still a force to be reckoned with when he gets going. Super 17, distaste, but still, a good player, shall we say? And 17, a genuinely fantastic player that's been built very well. The androids are a powerful team. I think they have probably the advantage. All of their players are good, whereas I think to be honest, we lack the all-around greatness that they have, and this is getting my excuses in early. But we have Cooler, Freezer, Mecha Freezer, who are always pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we have Metacooler, who's kind of average. He occasionally performs well, mostly performs pretty badly.
Yeah.
So I would say that the androids have the advantage. I'd say that the androids are probably the safer bet. However, Team Pride would not allow me to say that they're going to win. And I honestly don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think it's going to be very close. Whether or not it'll go to 3 games or not, I'm not entirely sure, but I think all of the games will be pretty close.
Yeah, I would say the same. Really, I mean, it really is almost that sort of specialist versus all-rounder, isn't it?
Yes,
Whether you want to have a PhD or whether you want to have several master's degrees.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, it'll be an interesting one to call. I personally couldn't even. I'm the same. I would find that completely impossible to call, and I just hope Cole would win.
Yes, no, I'm much the same. I think the androids, like I said, have an advantage, but it could go either way, especially if Cole performs well, as I hope it will. But we'll see. We'll see. Both teams have proven they can beat the best.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And the androids were in the Super Bowl last season, so we'll see what happens on that count. It'll be an interesting game.
And then we have Super Saiyans versus Saiyans.
Another pretty difficult one to call, actually. The Super Saiyans are pretty good most of the time. They're actually the only team, off the top of my head, that we haven't beaten. I think they've beaten us every single game.
Yeah,
we've
they
played.
have. Yeah, you're right.
I can't remember in season 1 whether we beat the margins or not. I don't think we did. So yeah, margins says Super Saiyans are the 2 that we haven't beaten so far. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant. It's a difficult one to call again. However, I have been proven wrong by the Saiyans a lot, and I think the Saiyans are probably the second, third best team in the league at the minute, behind Cold and Androids, both who've beaten them. They have the same win-loss records, but I still hold that Cold and Androids are better. Sorry to say it, but division pride and all that. But yeah, I'd still say the Saiyans are going to win. The thing with the Super Saiyans is, as they go higher into Super Saiyan form, I think they become more powerful in attack, but less powerful in defense, from what I've heard.
That's right, yeah.
So they start off with that slight disadvantage. The Saiyans have the ability to go ape. The Super Saiyans could pull it out. But will they? If I had money left to bet, I would be betting on the Saiyans.
Yeah, so would I. The Saiyans, no. I think
there's a reason that they are in the top 3 teams of the league, and they are a very good team.
Yeah.
I think they have an advantage. We'll have to wait and see what comes.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know. Immediately when I think that it's okay, the Saiyans are going to win, but then when I also look, am I right in the Super Saiyans like their beam attacks, don't they?
The Super Saiyans love
Yeah.
their beam attacks.
And that could potentially. I think didn't we have this conversation on last podcast as well about the Super Saiyans having a slight advantage over the apes because if they're pretty hard to stun. If you're hitting them from far away, they can't exactly get that heavy ape hit on you.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the apes, all of the apes supers, Fasha's ultimate, I think, being the single exception to that rule,
Mm-hmm.
are all beam attacks. Are either beam or barrage attacks. There are no smash attacks or rush B2s for the apes.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. People feel free to correct me. I'm sure everybody will take great pleasure in it. The Saiyans don't tend to go ape until the last health bar.
Yeah.
They are a very strong team, and their players have been built very well. Thinking on the fly is so painful. They're going to be a threat no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stand by what I said. I think they're going to win, but it will definitely be another close one.
I honestly think I could honestly see both the matches that we've talked about so far going to 3 matches as opposed to the 2-0 type of thing.
I think saying 2-1, 2-0 is a little bit unrepresentative, to be honest. It's a bit like the win-loss record. It doesn't say, these games were incredibly close, these games weren't. I think regardless of what happens, the games will be close. Whether they're close enough that, at some point the balance gets tipped, I honestly don't know. But regardless of what happens, they will be close games, I think.
Yeah. Right, then we have Dip and... Let me try and think. Boo, yeah.
I'm terrified.
I'm not gonna... I'm tempted to just make a no comment here because the Dip are just gonna prove us wrong again and again.
Boo's gonna win. And as we said with Guinea, unless Derp does something impressive, Boo's gonna win.
Yeah.
Boo's a team where every member of their team, regardless of how they're built, is a strong person, and I don't think they really have weak links. To be honest, I've said this before. They're a great team, and if they were a little bit more consistent and a little bit more practice-based, a little bit more actually taking into account what's happening in the games and making their changes accordingly, I think they would be a team that people are yelling at that they're overpowered.
Yeah.
Because they are that good. But yeah, they've had on days and off days. But I think they'll probably win, provided Derp doesn't pull something out of the sack again.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, unless Supreme Kai takes those banned substances, then I think.
Or even any of Team Derp. To be honest, I think people don't give Cyborg. Is it Cyborg Tao?
Yeah, he did perform well last week.
Pilaf, all that much credit. They had, all of their players have had their moments of performing pretty well. Hercule aside, where performing well is an average performance for anybody else.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think Boo will win, but we shall see. Piff's proved us wrong in the past.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah,
we shall see what happens.
And then we also have the margins
against Muscle.
Yeah. And then Champions Muscle as well.
Although have had a little bit of an off season, if we're being entirely honest about this. Muscle, I think, is my automatic reaction. Both in melee and in distance combat, Muscle are hugely powerful. But Sparta, what the fuck are you gonna do next? I think that really sums the whole lot up. it depends. It depends what happens. Margins can pull stuff out of the bag. They are a good team.
Yeah.
But I think Muscle has the base of not only experience, in how to build their team, but also just quality of player.
Yeah.
They are an excellent team. Full stop. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I seem to be saying that for every game, but
yeah, it's because it's so difficult to call.
Well, we're getting to the end of the season. We're getting to where the best teams in the league are facing off. So I think by the time we get to the final, it'll be like, not calling that one. But I think if we have a semi-final consisting of either Cold or Androids, I don't think it really matters between those two. Boo, Muscle. And again, Saiyans or Super Saiyans, probably the Saiyans are a bit more threatening, but say Cold. Actually, let's say Androids. Androids, Muscle, Boo, Saiyans. I mean, fucking hell, that's a scary lineup.
That
is, 4 of the best teams in the league.
Yeah. Well, if you had them in succession in the weeks, you kind of just forfeit the matches, really.
Yeah, you really wouldn't. You'd probably have to stick with the same build just because you couldn't work out whether you'd lost because the build was crap or you'd lost just because you were getting dominated. Do you know what I mean? It's not a pleasant lineup, but it's bloody hell is it an entertaining one.
Oh yeah, it'll be such hopefully be absolutely amazing matches.
There will be, and looking at this, the hopes of the final are incredible.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's where the hilarity of the idea of having Derp coming in on the final would be really, really funny.
But yeah, I would say same thing again. Margins really. I don't know though because not to discredit any of the other coaches' analytical abilities, but Sparta seems to be able to come up with a few little, I guess you would call them like tactical surprises for a lot of the games.
It's called intelligence and creativity, something quite a lot of us lack.
Yeah.
I include myself in that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, if he can, tailor the team in a way, or maybe even make one of those crazy decisions at like 4:00 in the morning or something, where he just slaps maybe indignation on everyone with Savior and something crazy. He could have a good chance.
He could have a good chance. I agree. The margins are in some ways Derp-like, with full of surprises and such. But as I said, we'll have to see. My money would be on Muscle, but it seems whenever I bet on Muscle, they lose. So I'm prepared to be proven wrong.
Well, it really is another one of those situations, isn't it? Where we say this, but it could be either way.
Yeah,
really.
This, but we really don't know. We honestly don't know what we're talking about, folks. We're just making this up.
It really is that, isn't it? We don't want to say we don't know, but we don't know.
We don't really know. We're like the scientists. We just haven't got a clue.
Cancer? What's that?
Sleep loss?
I can relate to that one.
So can I. Fucking hell.
Okay.
1:20 in the morning, Skyrim, I hate you.
Skyrim. Anyway, before we go back
to actually wasting an hour of time discussing Skyrim,
we came on and kind of forgot to record.
Yeah, we forgot to do podcasting.
So yeah, again, really, what we talked about last week were the kind of what we've got in the notes are the general rules of Dragon Ball Z League, general team strategies, customization trends. We've kind of covered that with Sparta's crazy choice.
Pretty much, I'd say. Although I did think the idea of Piccolo AI going on people didn't quite materialise. Which is sort of a shame.
Well, the strange thing about that was Piccolo was... I think he was on Piccolo AI in the first season, wasn't he? Maybe in the first few weeks. And he wasn't too bad.
My memory sucks. I can remember what happened a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't tell you what day it was, though.
Honestly, I forgot what happened yesterday. I'm honestly surprised I can still remember the Team Cold match, to be honest.
I make an effort to remember those games and what we're doing here, but as soon as we've done it, I'll just forget about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, then we can't really talk about who's going to have what build next week because everyone will probably make slight changes, or we'll keep with the same format.
And it's also pretty early in the week. We're getting towards that point in the season where people are more willing to stick with the devil they know.
Yeah. Well,
Than...
that's the point, isn't it? There's no use losing in the quarterfinal of the playoffs because you decided to put power body on everybody. That was still hilarious. But yeah, it really is the devil you know, rather than screwing your whole build up because you made the wrong choice that one time.
Yeah, and as Squee said when he was trying out his new build, he had nothing to lose. He went into that fully expecting to lose and using it as a test match against, arguably the best, if not one of the top 3 teams of the league, knowing that even if he beat Cold, he'd be up against androids who are just as dangerous, if not better designed to deal with teams like Earth Defenders. Androids. Cold's very specialised. Android is great in an all-round manner.
Yeah.
Using that time as he did, I think was a good way of doing things.
It's almost like we're seeing a slight evolution of it. We're moving away from everyone started to actually get, my team works this way, this is what my team's good at. Cold is good at spamming ultimates, but then everyone's slowly starting to look at, okay, what's the team we're facing this week? How can we counter them? And everyone's slowly moving into that,
I'm not.
That way of thinking.
I'm not budging.
But like with Sparta and with Dragon Ball Heroes as last minute switch, it's quickly, well, not quickly, but it's slowly becoming, a little bit more and more tactical, which is an evolution in a way.
It makes life a lot more interesting. I has my opinions on this. I said in last week's podcast, you need something standard.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
need something that you can say, if we don't know what we're up against, if we don't have anything that we can specifically use to counter this team, that we just have to sit down and pray that we're going to win.
Yeah.
You need a standard build that you can fall back on that says, here is something that means we are averagely good. We know that if we use this, we will perform reasonably well as far as our team goes. Being specialised is wonderful, but if you don't have a solid base to work off, you are not going to be. You're going to be throwing stuff in the dark. You're not going to have the. You're not going to have the foundations for your team. You start off with your AIs that you want them, focusing on what you want to use. You find out, how that AI works with the individual players' methods, because obviously, each player works differently with only what the AIs do is actually make them focus on one thing over another. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll always use that.
Yeah.
So, TNAI focuses on ultimates. Put it on Mecha Freezer, and he's far more likely to use ultimates.
Yeah.
Because he uses ultimates anyway, because that's what he does. So you need that solid base. So then what you can do is you have the base and you say, right, well, this week we're facing Team X. Team X uses, I don't know, lots of melee attacks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a Sparta on them, and we're going to throw Power Body onto this character and this character. Oh, hell, we'll throw it on all of them. And you can use that, but that next week you're going to be facing Team Z, and Team Z it's a team that you can't really predict. It's a team that's pretty balanced all round. There's nothing that you can really rely on to counter them. Their starter's nothing particularly impressive. It's an average player that does everything reasonably well, sort of a Krillin type player, shall we say?
Yeah.
And you're like, let's just fall back. Let's fall back and we'll use our foundation.
Yeah.
And we'll work off there. We'll just put the foundation build out there, and we'll see what happens. I think you can be too fancy. That's coming from someone who takes a brute force approach to pretty much everything forever. So, and who really doesn't want to have to try and change Team Cold's build. So, as always, take everything I say with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Or a bowl of salt. But that's my opinion.
No, yeah, I fully agree with that, because otherwise you end up with, let's say, I don't know, you're going up against, team, whoever, who has, particularly strong melee attacks, like you said, and then you decide, oh, I know, they focus on melee strength, so we'll focus on power body. But then, if they know that you're going to do that, then all of a sudden they change that, and then both teams are kind of operating outside of that norm, where I don't want to say the characters aren't used to it, because they're just characters.
They're characters that are not designed for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're putting an AI on somebody that's
not supposed to. Well,
you're either putting an AI on someone that they don't use hugely effectively, or you're putting an AI on someone, or keeping an AI on someone, and putting the Pataras that just don't make sense.
Yeah. And even then, if you don't, even if you say, okay, well, last week against the Blades, Tien used Tien AI and, focused on ultimates, so he did really well. And then, for example, the Valkyries switching everyone to Tien AI, everyone onto ultimates, it might not be the best of ideas, because...
No, because each player responds differently to the different AIs.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I said, Mecha Frieza will automatically focus on ultimates. TNAI prioritizes ultimates and ultimates and supers even more, as well as the close quarters combat.
Yeah.
The AIs, and this is something that, from what I've noticed, people don't seem to understand, is that they prioritize these things more. It doesn't mean that they will use them. It means that there's a greater probability of them using it.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether or not it's good for them, the character itself will have an AI that works for it. And the supposed AIs that you use just shift the priorities a little bit.
Yeah.
There's probably a fucking random number generator somewhere that says, ha ha! No.
Yeah, exactly,
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
You're not necessarily... Something's not necessarily going to use ultimates just because it has TNAI.
Yeah.
It's not going to necessarily, be on somebody's tail all the time because it has Broly AI. It's not necessarily going to be awful if it has Captain Ginyu AI. It's
kind of like it's more likely for it to do that, but at the same time,
yeah, it's more.
It's only probability.
Yeah, it's probability. The probability that I keel over right now with a knife in my back exists. It's pretty unlikely unless I've done something wrong in the kitchen.
Well, the probability that Team Death will win the Super Bowl, not the highest, but
it's still possible. Still possible.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, you do kind of risk the. With that evolution, you do kind of risk the, as we said, degenerating into sort of countering a counter that's countering your counter, and it's not really tactics. You just end up throwing random Patara on it.
You do, and also going away from what the players are actually designed to do.
Yeah.
You have Team Cold ultimates.
Yeah.
Then you suddenly go up against a team that, is a melee-based team, and you're like, let's stop using our main build that has beaten so many teams and start using an anti-melee build.
Yeah, let's stop using our 18,000 ultimates and stop someone from punching us for 250 damage.
Yeah, you have to prioritize it. For some people, like throwing power body on everybody, it was actually. It worked. It was pretty effective.
I don't understand it, but it worked.
yeah. It might have been, a 2-off thing, because it wasn't a one-off. Sorry, bad jokes. But you know what I mean? I've distracted myself now. Shit. You like I said, you need that solid base, and I think give it another season and we'll be into the really good tactics. But every team is going to need that base, and as I said, teams that are, I think I said this last week for Dragon Ball Heroes, teams that are bringing in new players, teams that are trying new things that haven't been using them every match as a test, are going to be behind. They're going to be a season of testing behind.
Yeah,
So,
that is a problem.
It's going to be an entertaining season 3.
Definitely.
And it's certainly going to be an entertaining playoff. God, it's stressful.
Well, also to play devil's advocate with that bit as well, it'd be interesting to see what the powers above do in terms of if people do start changing things. Like for example, I know there were a few complaints about the times that certain things have been changed. Let's just say.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if people are trying to counter people to see what the powers above, of say in season 3 about at what point you can actually, change your builds.
You bring up actually a very good point, and one that I hadn't thought of before. The deadline is what, Thursday night?
I think so, yeah.
Which for there's a limit to when people can get on. I'm relatively lucky in having the ability to connect very quickly to the internet over my phone, so I can check if it was that important. I could check. But for some people, they have their weekend and they have virtually no connection to the internet for the rest of the time because they're working or they're studying, which is probably what I should be doing, but I'm too lazy. So, I don't know, saying when, you can't give people too short a deadline because they don't have enough time to plan.
Yeah.
But if you leave it too long, then Squee doesn't have the chance to change stuff, and, people have too much of an opportunity to make those last-minute changes. So, I don't know, you bring up a good point, and one that
it's certainly
may be interesting to discuss.
Yeah.
That'll be one for your discussion thread, won't it?
Oh God, help me.
Look, I'm putting you under obligation now to put that out there, okay?
I will try. I will.
Although probably by the time I end up uploading this, it'll already be there. So.
Yeah, someone will take Squee's approach and say, "I'll put it up when if somebody else doesn't do it before me." Hint.
It's the summertime. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
I will do it. I promise. Exams. In December. I need to prepare for them. But best approach. Delegate responsibility. We're far too high and mighty for that.
We need to hire some underlings. Really?
No, we don't. Ordering people around is awful. Believe me.
Oh.
You end up doing it yourself.
Yeah. That's quite.
Not to be awful about people who end up helping, but half the time I've done help for I think I've sort of grown out of getting people to help for anything around anymore. I sort of just do it myself now.
That's true, but then you can't have the title of chief editor. You just have to be editor.
No, I'll be chief editor because I'm the only bloody one here. I'm the only one that's got the recordings, so...
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, before we go off on too far of a tangent, which
we are liable to do.
I'll go on the questions and answers, since we've pretty much covered quite a lot of Dragon Ball Z League, actually.
Pretty much, yeah.
Although we haven't commented on... No, that's a tangent. Stop it.
Commented on...
It's Z, not Z.
Yes, it is Z, not Z.
But never mind. We will go on about that forever. But
yes, no, I'll go on about that forever.
It's a personal peeve of mine as well, but
Don't fucking use it then.
Z sounds so wrong. See, look, I told you we were going to go on a tangent. I told you it was going to be a tangent.
Well, if you loaded your bloody browser quicker, it wouldn't happen, would it?
Oh yeah, I got it up, but I'm just looking at the logo. Oh, have you seen those, by the way? That was something on the forum news. Was it Sep? I'm not sure. Somebody was designing the Dragon Ball Z logo.
Really?
Yeah, it actually looks really nice as well. I'm just trying to find it now. It's pretty.
I hate you, and now I'm gonna have to use my phone. Internet on my phone's horrible.
Made one with a kind of like electricity flowing through it. It looked quite nice, but then they made one the same one but without the electricity, and it looked a lot better. I really like it.
Yeah, that'll be in general discussion, won't it?
I have no idea.
Well, it'll probably be under team banners, won't it?
Yes, that was where it was.
I'll have a quick look. Except for the fact that this is going to take fucking ages to load. Sorry for foul language and tired Brit. My apologies. Actually, no, I don't apologise. It's funny, but still. You sure?
Claude Rebel is viewing this thread. Get off the thread. Yeah, there we go. I found it. It was Sepp.
What page?
21.
Great, I'm on 22.
Yeah, so was I. Yeah. I mean, it's a really nice logo. If people haven't seen it yet, go to page 21 on the general discussion in the Dragon Ball Z.
Oh
league.
yes, there. Oh yes, I saw that. It is very impressive. I really liked that. Completely forgot about that actually. Well, well done, Sepp.
Yeah, well done for that. I hadn't seen that until maybe a few days ago, and I saw it. I was really impressed.
I think I saw it when it first went up, but it completely slipped my mind. I may use that as the picture actually.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a nice one. I like the one with flames going out there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh,
okay.
God, I'm gonna have to ask him which one I have to use now. Shit. Okay. Sorry.
Right.
What were we supposed to be doing next? Questions and answers, wasn't it?
Questions and answers. Yeah. First one's from Crow Gamer, so Crow basically to us. He says the biggest surprise team and player I think of season 2.
What is that for the general season or?
I think just generally in the season, even I'm gonna say Derp, because just because of the name and the fact that they've actually got further than most other teams.
I see where you're coming from. My personal one's Cold, actually. In all seriousness.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Cold were not
laughing stock of last season.
Yeah.
Suddenly. Arguably best team of, well, maybe not best team, I'm tooting my own horn a bit there, but, you know, top three teams of the league, pretty big turnaround. But yeah, I know you're coming from about Derp. And player? Supreme Kai? Was part of Derp, maybe?
Yeah,
or maybe actually Aurelie, I think.
Yeah, Aurelie, yeah.
A slightly controversial choice for the androids, possibly considered to be the wrong choice. Suddenly comes out and becomes top scoring player of this season.
Yeah, it really is pretty good as well.
And every time I look at her, I think, oh, she'll be a push. Oh my god, no.
And he also asked for, again, the biggest disappointments player in team of season 2. Which is kind of a hard one, I mean.
I don't know, disappointment in terms of team, probably Dragon Ball Heroes. It's disappointing they weren't able to do better.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I think calling people out as a disappointment is
a bit
unfair.
harsh.
is unfair to say the least. Like I said, I think that's a little bit unfair, but probably Dragon Ball Heroes, and as for player, I have absolutely no idea on that one.
I mean, well, there are so many players that have had that kind of 1 or 2 matches where they've been, you know, incredible. We talked about Tien, Supreme Kai.
Yeah, almost every player has had their moments of glory, but their moments of being just horrible.
Yeah.
And then you have the players that are constantly average.
Yeah.
So, again, I think it's a possibly slightly unfair question and pretty difficult to answer as well.
Yeah. Oh, and he also says, happy birthday, Dantos. Thank you. Anyway, we go to Hussar for Timelines. I just remembered him as Hussar.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, he's the patron of the Drinking Dragon. That's correct. Yeah. He also says happy birthday. Thank you, Hussar. This was posted several weeks ago.
Yeah.
What's your favourite moment throughout this league? Wow, that's a deep question.
Beating Team Boo, beating Team Muscle. Actually, probably beating Team Muscle while I was commentating. I liked that one. That was my favourite moment.
Oh well, that was a fun, yeah.
Although in a slightly more serious mode, probably beating the Valkyries. That match with the Valkyries was an incredible game.
Yeah, it was.
very satisfying as well. Sorry, Snowy, but really, it was so satisfying.
I would actually say my favourite one so far, and this is going to be kind of stupid because we've only just had it, but the cold match against the Air Defenders.
It was a pretty fun thing. You can see here, folks, that we're not biased at all.
Yeah, not biased whatsoever.
No, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, why do you root for the team you root for? Well, you can go first because yours is an easy answer for that one, really.
My answer may actually be a little bit more complicated than you think.
Oh, really?
Although probably not. Cold, because at the time, because I started supporting Cold at the very beginning of Season 1, it was like the second week or something, it was because nobody else had picked them. I think they were one of 2 teams that nobody had started supporting.
So who was the coach?
Me.
I thought you were always the coach.
No, I always have been. They didn't have any fans at that point, because at the time, there wasn't any changes implemented at that time.
Oh, yeah,
It was just supporting. And as the season went on, there was changes to the starting lineup and then changes to the AI. And then this season, we implemented the changes to Pataras, as well as AI and startup. So, but no, from the very beginning, Team Cold, simply because nobody else had supported them until I started. Because what I did was I went on to the old Yola site forums, had a look at everybody. There were 2 teams. I can't remember who the other team was. No, I have no idea who the other team was. I'm sure someone will probably tell me. But I looked at it, thought, Team Cold. They look like underdogs. They look entertaining, and I think their matches were pretty good, or pretty fun, shall we say?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Once somebody comes along who actually knows this a little bit better than I do, they are more than welcome. Because that's what I was doing at, I think, like middle season, when you're allowed to change lineup or change the starter, because that's really all that matters. I was like, right, I'll do this, but as soon as someone comes along who actually knows what they're doing, or is, in any way better at this than I am, fuck it, they can have it. They can be the coach. I'll go to being impartial. And then come season 2, nobody's joined, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I would step aside with any great relish. I think I'll stay doing this, and that's just because nobody else supported them.
Yeah,
well, the only reason.
That was pretty much the same thing. Because I remember we were private messaging on YouTube the save file from Medieval to each other. I remember you said I can't remember what you were talking about, but we were talking about Team Cold or something, and you said, yeah, basically I have no supporters. And I was like, okay then. And then I went on the forum and you literally had pretty much virtually nobody. So that's okay.
No, I had until you came along. I think there was one person with Team Cold in their signature. They never actually posted on the team thread itself, and the rest were just other people from other teams, either gloating or just chatting.
Good luck and stuff like yeah. Like I honestly, when I used to watch it, I used to watch the stream sometimes if I couldn't sleep, and I can't even say I supported anyone. I was kind of just like took it on a match by match basis.
Yeah, it was just interesting to watch.
Yeah. But now, that's it. It's Team Cold all the way.
Everything is done to the benefit of Team Cold now.
Yeah. So that's why I root for the team I root for, and that's why Rebel roots for the team he roots for. Huzzah. Altair says, first question is, how inaccurate do you think your predictions showing this podcast series will be? Very inaccurate.
I have a slightly different answer.
I think
they wouldn't be my predictions if I didn't think they were right.
That's true. Yeah.
I wouldn't be predicting them if I didn't have a good reason for backing up, and if I don't have a good reason for backing them, I'll fucking say so. To be honest with you, I think most of the time they'll be right. We've already proven that it's possible to be wrong, but that's where the luck factor of this league does come in. So most of the time I'll probably be right. There'll be a few times that we're not. So.
Yeah, I
I
think.
think the predictions are all, much like the betting system that you've devised. It doesn't work unless there's doubt in who wins.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think the same. Jokes aside, I mean, it really, we've kind of proved that, you know, we did say, like, if you know, if Team Derp does that crazy stuff that they do, then they'll win, and you know, and even with like Cold and Androids, we've pretty much said that it's almost impossible to call.
It is.
And I guess that's pretty accurate because anyone could win that match.
Yeah. We saw Cold dominated in the preseason. Androids were pretty close victors at the end of this season. So
yeah,
it can go either way.
Second question is, which team wins season 2 and why? I guess this is another one of those questions. Again, I'd say it's between Saiyans, Androids, and Cold. But again, the luck factor could mean that anyone wins.
I'm going to say it's between Cold, Saiyans, Androids, Muscle, and Boo. Okay. There you go. It's between the winner of division of South, North, East, and West division. Aside from that, it's impossible to call. Cold. Okay. There you go. Cold will win this season because they're awesome. Okay. Again, an impossible question to truly answer. There's too much luck involved. There's too much probability to genuinely decide who wins.
Yeah.
You know, if you base it off win-loss records, it's going to be Androids, Cold, or Saiyans. But we've already seen that win-loss records don't always
necessarily mean everything. Yeah.
It's not like the person with the greatest win-loss record is actually the best team in the league. It just means that they were either lucky enough. Yeah, that they were lucky enough, really, to win.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a great team, or that those that don't have those win-loss records are bad teams. You know, luck, placement,
a huge part.
You know, your opponent, your division.
Yeah.
There is a huge random element to this league, which is one of the things that makes it so exciting.
Yeah. Then we have a few messages from you, and then
sorry.
HDK, thank you for the happy birthday. And he asked why we spotted Team Cold. We've kind of already covered that. And he says, who has been your favourite character during Season 2 for the two of us?
Do you want to go to that one first?
You know what? I've got one that I wouldn't say Supreme Kai is my favourite character because I kind of just hoped after I watched the first match of him absolutely tearing the team apart. I kind of every time I watched them, I kind of always thought, here we go, he's going to do it this time, he's going to do it, and then he never did it. And then the one time that I was watching the stream, and I thought, I've kind of given up on him doing stuff like that. And then the whole of Team Derp suddenly plays pretty well.
Yeah.
I guess I would say Supreme Kai because I don't know what it is. He just seems to shine when they need it.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Having been supporting Team Cold from quite literally the very beginning, and coaching them for the whole of that time, mostly alone until you came along.
Woohoo!
Yay! I don't know. Probably either Cooler or Mecha Freezer. Probably Mecha Freezer just for the fact that he does supernovas. He's cool. Or actually Cooler because every time he does Death's Chaser at the end, he ends up kneeing them in the stomach as he comes down on top of them. That's just hilarious. And then he spams Death Balls. It's fun. So Cooler, there you go.
I do know what you mean there. I mean, Cooler's well, it says it in the name, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, so
Ice-like.
onto the second page of questions we go. And we've just got a couple of comments and stuff, and blah 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 blah. Do you think trading out Trunks is a good idea, even though it gets rid of the privilege of having advantage in Gotenks from Link 703? We kind of covered this last week a little bit. It was covered in the stream as well by Squee, and it's one of those difficult ones to call because we're not really part of the team. So, and they do get an advantage with it, but
Do they?
through having, instead of having just one guy, you now have the two of them separately. But I don't think trading Trunks out. I mean, honestly,
Well, the issue he has is that he's using a single Patara point on Broly's ring,
yeah.
so he does lose that capability. Fusion can be good. It depends. It sort of depends when it sort of depends when it's used, which of course you cannot control. However, we've seen in the past that the ability to tag out, regain health, or even just tag out with Savior is a hugely powerful advantage for any team, regardless of what they do most.
Yeah.
You're regaining health while somebody else is taking damage. That is a good thing. Even if you're a powerful character with Savior that's regaining a bit of health so that they can last just that little bit longer, maybe toss out their ultimate, it can change a game.
Yeah.
Your fusion gains you back health. I don't know whether it gains you energy or not. I don't think it does, but I could be wrong. And it gains you a different moveset. The different moveset is the extra health is lovely, but you can get that and probably more via a combination of Dende's healing even, along with the tag out regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Your different moveset is in some ways a disadvantage because you have an extra moveset that you have to account for.
In terms of your customization.
Yeah, so you have to have the AI, you have to have the Pataras to work with that, and also the restrictions that Squee placed on you for, which I would say were pretty reasonable in terms of having Pataras that you have to have the same Pataras on the characters if you have.
Yeah,
if you're going to be able to fuse. So what you then have to think is it worthwhile trading out that season of testing and gaining a new character that you're going to have to work with and gaining the extra Patara point and fewer restrictions? You have to make that decision, or can you stay with what you've got and make them work? That is a judgment that you and your team are going to have to make, and I won't comment any further than that. I think being able to tag out is a greater advantage than being able to fuse, but it's your team. The judgment, as always, has to be yours.
Yeah, it really is one of those difficult decisions, isn't it? I mean, yeah, as you said, the tagging out is a huge advantage. But I don't know. I mean, do they get? I don't know this, but do they get any bonus to key generation, or do they start with more power? I've honestly, I've never noticed whether they do or not.
Well, what's that with tagging?
No, when they've after they fuse.
I don't know. I think they just gain the extra bars of health and different moveset, possibly more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And because obviously you're two people in one. Apart from that, I don't know much about fusion. To be honest with you, I know
it's
virtually
that we have
nothing
to deal with.
I know nothing about it in terms of the lore of Dragon Ball Z, and I know nothing about it in terms of the mechanics of the game because I've not looked at it. So,
it really is difficult.
It's for you and your team to decide, and then for Squee to decide who he'll let you have in trade off for it, if he'll let you trade him out.
Okay, Mega Mike says that as it was the margins who lost to Dragon Ball Heroes, do you think the curse of losing will pass on to them in Season 3?
No. Dragon Ball.
No, I don't think so
the issue,
either.
the issue Dragon Ball Heroes have is that their team has a lot of disadvantages. They have some advantages, but they have a lot of disadvantages, and they're in trouble. They've missed out, as I've said before. They've missed out on that season of testing. They need to get a solid, cohesive team that they have. Like I said, they need that foundation.
Yeah.
In order to be able to challenge. The Margins are a good team. The Margins are an average to a good team, and have the potential to be among the best teams of the league, if not, actually already being there. No, I don't. To answer your question, no, I don't think the curse of losing is going anywhere.
No, I don't.
I think Dragon Ball Heroes are still going to struggle next season, especially given the fact that Sepp seems to want to do a complete rebuild of his team. We'll see.
Just a thought as well. This question's actually just sparked an idea in my head. I know it's the question and answer, but screw it, I'm going to suggest it.
It's our podcast.
Yeah, it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Power.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just thinking. I wonder if I don't know if it's ever been suggested or whatever, but you probably know a lot more about this than I would. But having sort of separate divisions, like kind of
What sort of like our Premier League Championship Division
college.
1?
Yeah.
League 1 as it is now. Fuck. Is it
Whatever.
League 1 or is it League 2?
They've got the Coca-Cola Championship and then
League 2.
yeah, no, and then League 1.
Really?
And then,
They still have League 1? Okay. Paying attention to any division that's lesser than mine is just, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I think that was already. I think we already discussed. I think that was already discussed. I can't remember whether it was. Yes, it was discussed because I put the fucking thing up there, didn't I? I think that was one of my suggestions. Anyway, I can't remember, but yeah, it was discussed, and we ended up landing on this division idea, which I don't know if it's similar to an American system or
Yeah.
not. I've never.
Yeah.
Again, I don't pay attention enough to other things to know. But that's the one we settled on. I think we're a bit of a small league to be doing.
Yeah, that's true.
That many
we
things.
got like maybe
16.
yeah.
We have 16 teams. Adding any more is a bit unfair on Scree, given it already takes me 2 hours to get stuff done. So I think sticking with the one that we've got at the minute, it's pretty good. But yes, we did discuss it.
Yeah. Okay then. I was just wondering. Then we have Austin 0408 or 0408, whatever. Says prediction for the 1 versus 1. I'm guessing it means the 1 versus 1 tournament.
That's not possible to do because we don't know who's in the finals.
Yeah, that's true.
It consists of the 1 versus 1 tournament will consist of everybody who is not in the of the teams who are not in the final. And even then, it depends who teams choose. So we'll have to do that closer to the time when we have more of an idea who's going to be when. So that'll probably be something actually that we cover anyway when it comes to predictions for the Super Bowl or the Super Bowl event.
I'm going to go ahead and say Raccoon, just because I think it's a funny thing to say. He's just going to plant people all over the place. But no, honestly, I agree. It's the same thing. We can't really know yet. Good question, though. Thoughts on... Grey Soul says, the thoughts on the growth of the Dragon Ball Z League in the forums. Kind of the growth of it, we've covered a little bit, in terms of the tactical, evolutionary side of things. In the forums, I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not. I think I mentioned this again in last week's podcast. I'm not usually active on any other forums other than certain team customization stuff. I occasionally browse over it, which is force of habit from being a moderator on previous forums that I've been on, you end up getting ingrained. You just sort of browse over stuff. It's like not really reading it, but you're just looking out for certain things. It's very strange. It's like I tried to kick the habit and I can't do it. It's like, I just have ooh, shiny. I'm not really paying attention. I just sort of browse through. But no, I'm not active enough to really say it. There's a lot of stuff that's sprung up around it. You know, you're looking at the Drinking Dragon, the training grounds, the locker rooms,
The podcast.
the podcast. You know, the banners. There is a lot of growth, and I know it surprised a lot of people, Squee, and probably myself included. I'm rather impressed.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I would say I'm a little bit more active, not so much in the Dragon Ball Z forums, but just, you know, general discussion and debate and stuff. But it has brought a lot of people.
It's brought a lot of people together, and it's also created some, whether it's friendly or not remains to be seen, but some rivalry. Don't look at me. People can be silly about things, but you know, some rivalries.
Yeah.
In there. So.
I was gonna say you brought people together, but then I was worried that, you know, it would sound like a bit of a Christmas cliche.
Well, yeah, Christmas cliche certainly, but it has brought.
No, it has. It's created a community.
It has. Created a community is easily the best way of putting it.
Which Squee seems to be able to do quite.
He does. He has a talent. I guess it's the original ideas he comes up with. You know, let's read. What? Wow, that's actually good. Dragon Ball Z League. Oh my god, that's actually quite fun.
Yeah.
Mass Effect with friends. Another guest LP. Ooh, some entertaining people on there. I think that's also to do with the person and the size of the community that he's got. Full stop as well.
Yeah. I mean, he is one of the nicer people in the world, I would say.
Yeah.
To put it lightly, he really is one of the nice people in the world. So it's kind of easy to warm to the ideas and.
Yeah. No, it is, and even if you're not genuinely interested in the ideas themselves, it's listening to an entertaining person doing something that is giving them entertainment and making them even funnier.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things generally about Let's Playing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is.
I can't. It's countless the amount of freaking. You know, those, not indie games, but, like, you know, older games that, like, Grimmeth and Jeff have done, which...
Fucking hell,
honestly,
I'm not playing half of them.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah.
yet you're still, you know, I have no intention of playing black and white, but...
Like,
bloody hell, that was a fun LP.
What was that Grimmeth play? Pirates Gold? Honestly,
yes.
No offense to Grimmeth, but it doesn't seem like an extremely good game, and yet he made it such a funny...
It was, yeah.
It
was really entertaining. And that is to do with the people that play the games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is why they're as good as they are. There's a reason for having the communities that they have behind them.
Yeah.
It is because they are very, very good at what they do. And
with seemingly little effort.
Yeah, with seemingly little effort. Although I think saying a little effort is what they would
slightly degrading.
Well, is what they would like you to think.
Yeah.
You and I both know from personal experience of doing a similar thing that it is pretty hard.
Yeah.
That it can be quite hard work, especially looking at what a lot of them do as well.
Even our 4-player Let's Play, I mean, Squee has had so much trouble trying to get that set up.
And he's still fucking happy as hell.
Yeah.
It's painful. It's like, will you be negative for once in your life? Will you moan about it? No, I'm just going to laugh and make jokes and be cheerful.
Well, like, we were on Skype trying to sort the thing out, and I said to him, look, you know, do you just want to leave it? Or, you know, are you fed up with it or whatever? And I honestly expect him to just go, yeah, just screw this. And he went, no, we'll do everything we can. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, how can you stay so positive?
I'd have put my fist through a wall. And in all seriousness, I would have put my fist into a wall at that point, given the number of problems he's had. How he does it, I have no idea. But
no, I really...
Greatest respect to the guy.
Yeah.
You know, all piss taking aside and that.
Yeah. As much as you like to take the piss, he really is.
I do like to take the piss, you're right.
Yeah. He's very, very hard working with it all.
He does.
That's the rest of the questions as well.
Pardon?
That's the rest of the questions from the.
Really? I was expecting more. Come on.
Oh, guys, come on! What the?
Yeah. Where's the love?
Come on, how many people watched the last podcast? By the way,
I don't know. I haven't checked it. I checked it for the first 2 days, and then I sort of forgot about it. In all seriousness, I sort of checked it for the first couple of days, looking for comments, and then sort of toddled off and did other things. I should probably go back and check that at some point.
308 viewers. You know what? That's probably all of my Let's Plays combined.
That's
really.
probably like 2 months of a video being up for me. That's like 2 months.
That is a lot, and the amount of comments as well is
Really? How many comments have we got?
a lot more than any of my videos have ever got.
Spammage time.
Yeah, like
it's not surprising given the number of people that watch the league, I suppose.
yeah. Well, I mean, like even my first ever Baldur's Gate episode at 100, it's got 151 views.
Nice.
It's been up for like 2 months.
Yeah,
I mean,
it gets better.
It just shows that it is a credit to
It's great to see that it's grown that quickly. Yeah. I agree.
Although I do have to point out one thing that I am very, very unhappy with. Only 4 likes. Really? Really? 4 likes?
Given the audio quality, I think we can forgive people.
It has 5 likes now, that's all I'm saying.
Ah, really? Yeah.
I forgot that we can like it. It's not our video.
It's very, very interesting. The last time I liked a video was fucking ages ago. It was back in, I think it was like Androids Against Cold in the pre-season. I think that was like the last video I've liked or favorited. It's like there's a like button and then something pops up on the video going, "Please like this, comment, subscribe."
That
Off.
that pisses me off.
Just
much.
go away. Anyway, we can rant and rave all of we want after we finish recording. We really next time should we have actually somebody who keeps us in check?
Can rein us in? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not rein us in, just distract us a bit more.
I think that one we have covered really.
Yeah.
We need someone focused, someone with an iron will, someone. I can't even think of the word. See, people who know words. That's what we need.
English.
Yeah, English. Yeah.
Not American. Sorry. Yeah. Before we severely offend people and severely aggravate people,
alienate the whole audience.
Yeah. Next video, 200 views, 200 dislikes. Maybe we should stop.
So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the show, isn't it?
Pretty much. We've ended on a very, very high note, I think.
We have. So, I guess thank you guys for watching. Listening. I guess it's a podcast after all. Thank you guys for listening, and
or watching. If you enjoy staring at a static screen, I mean, it's entirely up to you.
It can be enjoyable at times. Sometimes I do that when I can't sleep.
When I can't sleep, I tend to be staring at my phone. Going, will you stop texting me?
So yeah, I guess that's it, isn't it?
Pretty much, as far as I can say. Yeah. Again, as we've said before, if you have any questions, there is the questions and answers thread. We are more than happy to answer those questions. Yeah, I don't think there's much else. Just enjoy the games when Squee gets them out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed the audio in this one's better. My apologies for the first one.
Well,
as I
my
said,
laptop doesn't help.
Well, it wasn't so much the laptop, it was the fact that it was coming out of the other speaker that I had a problem with. As I said, pilot episodes, we'll have to see how these things go. This should be fixed, though.
Yeah, we'll be much better in Season 3 as well. Oh, and Happy Christmas, everyone. Forgot about that. And Happy New Year.
Yeah, that
Forgot about those.
That thing.
Holidays.
Humbug.
Sorry. Yeah, but before we end up with like a 7-hour episode, we'll see you next week, around about the same time, for the semi-finals?
Yeah, it'll be the semi-finals, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you later, guys.
See you.